am Phyllis Garnett, founder and CEO of the Garnett Cancer Society nonprofit, aka GCS. Today's spotlight contains sensitive information, and we encourage you while you are listening to emotionally self-soothe as needed. We understand that everyone receives information differently, and to some, today's spotlight may be good information. To others, good gossip. And for others, resourceful information. Whatever your outtake on today's spotlight, the GCS's desire is to decrease the fear of the word cancer by providing you with professional medical and educational seminars, personal testimonies, and various resources to help you make the right decision for the trajectory of your healthcare needs. Welcome to our story.
Thankful for this opportunity, Lord. We ask it in Jesus' name and for His name. Amen. You okay?
Where that came from? That's it. I just didn't know where that came from.
Yeah. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Once we start talking, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, we are Phyllis and
Ron Garnett.
And I'm the co-founder and...
You're the founder.
Oh, I am. Thank you.
I'm the co-founder.
This is unscripted, you guys.
Well, hey, we're going to get it straight.
Yeah, so I am the founder
and I am the co-founder of
the Garnett Cancer Society nonprofit.
Right.
We are so glad to have you guys with us today. We started off last year in 2020 jumping in with the Garnett Cancer Society Spotlight, providing free spotlight information in reference to cancer. We want to let you know a little bit of why the Garnett Cancer Society got started and what our purpose is. Babe, you want to tell them?
Well, I can tell them some of it, and I'll let you tell the rest.
Okay.
Really, the way it got started, I was married. My first marriage was with Trixie. Her real name was Yvette, but everybody knew her as Trixie. And we were married for 45 years until she succumbed to colon cancer, and that was in 2011. Yeah. And in 2014, I met my second wife, Phyllis. And Phyllis, while we were engaged, Phyllis decided that she thought it would be a great honor to my first wife to found the Garnett Cancer Society so that other people could learn not to be afraid of the word cancer. And we would provide all kinds of professional information, professionals from the medical field. Mm-hmm. We would provide interviews with them. We would provide interviews with
current cancer patients,
caretakers.
Yeah,
so
and that educational information and resources to provide out to the community, especially the Black-Brown community.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Yeah, especially to the Black-Brown community. And the specialty is because that community is we found out that the Black-Brown community does not really
respond the same way to cancer treatments,
nor participate in research.
Right.
And we'll get into that a little later, but yeah.
Yeah. So what happened, we were married, Phyllis and I were married in 2014.
Yeah.
And in 2019,
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years later, Phyllis discovered that she had breast cancer. She discovered a lump in her breast, and of course she went to the doctor and found out that it was indeed breast cancer.
Yeah, and in that, I just want to encourage everyone, but especially are females to examine yourself, to know your body. Be aware when your skin color is different, your skin coloration on your breast or other parts of your body is different. If there's soreness, if there's a discharge, be very, 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 this is my W for sign language, be very aware of what's going on with your body. I always did a self-exam, and I'm so thankful that I did that day. I always do my self-exams in the shower, because then as the water pours over the body, you can feel more of what's going on inside, you know, and the smoothness. And so in the shower, during my exam, I felt that lump, and it was about the size of an almond. And I did check into it, had a mammogram done, and had a biopsy done.
Biopsy done.
And all of it detected that it was an invasive carcinoma breast cancer, which was very aggressive.
Yes, yes.
Very aggressive. It was a stage 1.
Stage 1,
at
right.
that time.
So they caught it, really caught it in the early stages.
Yeah, and that's what's important. Do your exams, see a doctor, and get it at the early stage.
Yes, the earlier the better. The earlier the better.
So why are we here today?
Well, we're here because there are other things that happened.
Yeah.
Other things that happened that we hadn't expected at all. When we found that she had found the tumor in the very early stages of cancer, both we were encouraged, and the oncologist was encouraged,
yep.
and the surgeon was encouraged. And of course, the surgeon gave us the option of Phyllis getting a lumpectomy or a mastectomy, and he said both of them were equally as effective. So Phyllis selected the lumpectomy, had that done.
After praying.
Yeah, after lots of prayer. Believe me, lots of prayer. And after that was done, the surgeon was very encouraged, because he said he had gotten all of the tumor out. Everything else around that tumor was clear. They also removed what was about 3 or 4 of your lymph nodes.
6.
Was it 6 lymph nodes?
6 lymph nodes.
Those were clean. There was no cancer in the lymph nodes. Based on the genetic testing that they did on Phyllis, they determined that since it was aggressive, they would need to also do chemotherapy and radiation.
Yeah. So I had, what, 20 rounds of radiation?
You had 20 rounds of radiation.
And about, what, 3 months?
Yeah, it was, I think it was 4 rounds of chemo.
4 rounds of, 4 rounds of chemo.
Yeah.
Every 3 weeks.
Yeah, every 3 weeks you had a round of chemo and that was for 12 weeks.
For 12 weeks.
So it's, 4 rounds.
And the reason that I'm asking him, guys, is because with chemo you get foggy brain.
Yeah.
So he remembers a lot more than I do. I remember a lot, but for the clarity of it.
Yeah, right. So once all of that was done, the lumpectomy was taken care of. We found that there was nothing left, no cancer left in her breast. We found that there was no cancer in her lymph nodes. She went through the chemotherapy first, and then she went through 20 rounds of radiation, and they said that should do it. That should do it. You should be cancer-free.
Yeah, let me stop.
Yeah. She rang the bell.
I rang the bell.
After your last radiation treatment.
Yeah.
Rang the bell.
And even had family there to support me on my last chemo.
Exactly.
That was so awesome.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was great.
We were all just very, very elated. That it almost seemed like, boy, this was easy.
It was easy.
And of course, I'm not going to say that because I wasn't the one going through it.
Yeah. I had no pain whatsoever. None. Nada.
No pain.
At all. And so the reason for sharing and saying all of this is because you may not have any pain. You may not have any discomfort. You may not have any discoloration or any discharge. But that does not mean not to go and have a routine exam. And also, before I had my surgery, and I was asked if I would be willing to participate in cancer research. And I was really honored about that. I mean, you know, wow. And when I said yes, the whole medical staff that was in office was shocked.
Yeah, they were really shocked.
Their mouths was open, like, what? And then I was like, well, what's wrong? And they said, blacks do not donate their cancer surgically removed tissues to research. And I'm like, why? You can't take it home with you. You might as well donate it. And especially if it's going to save a life or lives.
Yes.
And so I donated my surgically removed cancerous tissues to research. And I just want to encourage you all, please, especially the black, brown community, donate to research. It's very important. Everyone will have, who has cancer may have some similar symptoms, but you will not respond the same to treatment. And in side effects, I had at least 3, and I want to say 4, side effects that they hadn't seen before, that they hadn't had before. And so there I was. I was the first, you know? But let me tell you, in speaking with some other sisters that are now cancer survivors, only one other person had one of the symptoms that I had that they said they never had seen before. This sister even participated in a trial, and because it was just she, that 1%, they didn't record it. So now it's a 2% because there are 2 of us that have had that same symptom, that same side effect from treatment. So I just want to encourage you all to participate, be proactive.
Yes.
And be aware.
Be aware.
And be aware. Our motto
Self-exam.
Our motto is your pathology matters. If you don't know your pathology, get a pathological, or if that's even a word, the right way to say it, genetic testing. Our journey was great. And we were told that that type of cancer that I had in 2019 would very rarely return. It would be, what, 10?
10. If it returned at all, it would be like maybe 10 or 12 years later. If at all.
All right. So that was very encouraging. So going through life, and life is good and great, and we're praising God. It was June of this year, wasn't it?
June of 21.
June of this year.
2021.
Because my portacath came out in September of last year, 2020.
Right. We had that removed because she was cancer-free.
No longer to have that thing there. I kept it as a souvenir, though. Well, I got a picture of it.
A picture of it.
And document. That's another thing. I document everything.
She documented the whole thing.
So on June of this year, I just started I started having itchiness in my scalp. And it was just scratchy. Well, mind you guys, with chemo, your hair comes out. And my hair came out over my face and on my head. So I considered that the itchiness was to my hair growing back. But it was only in certain areas up, within my scalp. More so here and a little bit here. More so here and a little bit here. And then one day I was walking and a pain hit me right in that sciatic nerve. And I mean, it was so painful. And I talked to different people and was saying what I was experiencing, and they was like, yep, that's sciatica. I had that, and it feels just like this, and it feels like that, and you can take this, and you can take that, and you can use a patch, and all of that. Well, I did those things, and it was painful. And then it kind of subsided. It didn't go away, but it just kind of subsided. And I went out of town for 3 weeks to visit family and to spend the 4th of July with family and friends.
And left me at home by myself.
Oh, well, I called you though on the regular.
Well, yeah, you did.
Spoiled. But while I was gone, that first week in July, that pain started again. And it got to the point to where I was popping ibuprofen like every 8 hours. By the second week, I could barely walk. I couldn't go down the stairs. I couldn't bend to sit down. If I raised my foot just a little bit off the floor, I felt like I was about to bang myself in the head. It was so much pain. I called emergency in the area where I was, and COVID was at a high then.
Yes, yeah.
And they said, we're going to see everybody with COVID first. So regardless of your pain, if you're not dying, you're going to have to wait for 5 or 8 hours. And I was like, ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, and there's no way in the world you're going to be able to wait for that length of time.
Yeah.
Right.
And at the time, I had set up an interview with the Garnett Cancer Society with an author who was also a doctor. And he was in the area, and I remembered that. So I contacted the doctor who I was going to actually interview, but I was like, he's a doctor, he knows what to do. And I contacted him, you guys, at 2 in the morning by text, and told him of the pain and discomfort that I was having. And that man was so nice and sensitive to my needs that he called me. He called me back around 2:30 in the morning and told me what to do, what I needed to do, how things were going to be at the hospital because of COVID. And mind you, he's a doctor, so he knew every step and everything for me to do. And so I appreciated him, and I appreciated his help. I couldn't move. I could not move. And when I called the hospital, they said, you're going to have to wait 5 hours in the waiting room with COVID patients, or sit in your car in the parking lot for 5 or 8 hours. And I was just like, that's not going to work.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen.
No. So with my family that I was visiting with, they were running and getting me medicine from the CVS or whatever in the wee hours of the morning. So I put the Lanacane patch on. Then I was taking extra strength Tylenol, and it went from what? No,
go ahead. I just want to interject one thing. At this point, we still, as far as we were concerned, it was sciatica.
Sciatica tearing me up.
Yeah, it was sciatica. We never thought anything else but sciatica.
Sciatica, yeah. And so now I'm popping pills that it's gone from 8 hours to 6 hours to 4 hours. And by the time I did make it back home after the 4th of July, made it home on the 5th, I was popping pills every 2 hours because the pain was that severe. Went to my primary care. We talked about sciatica. I was given you were given a cortisone shot. And then put on prednisone for 7 days. Yeah, and it said in my body, like, are we supposed to be doing something? Yeah. And I was like, yes.
Didn't do a thing.
Not a thing.
Didn't do a thing.
I asked for an MRI, and my doctor requested that, and my insurance provider shut it down because they said it was only back pain and it was not necessary. You guys remember what I said about the insurance, okay? So they said the only way that they would approve for me to have an MRI is for me to have 6 sessions of physical therapy or to be on medication for 6 weeks. And I was like, are you serious? I've been on medication for 3 weeks.
Right. And nothing was working.
So I went, and the first session of physical therapy was painful.
Yeah, well, you only got through about 10 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Because once he raised your leg up saw how painful that was for you, he said, well, no,
I lit up the entire physical therapy area.
Right. So he recommended that you get an MRI.
Yeah.
And of course.
And then nothing happened.
Nothing
still.
happened.
And I had about 4 more physical therapy sessions. They said, we're going to have to stop because you're in so much pain and we believe we're making this worse.
Yeah.
They recommended an MRI.
Nothing. They still refused it. They still refused.
A few days later, was it a few days or a week later?
It might have been. I can't remember the last.
Yeah, I think it was about a week
session.
later.
Yeah, I think it was a week later.
At home, I was bathing, taking a organic salt bath. And you guys, I could not get out of the
Couldn't get out of the tub. She was in so much pain that she could not even lift her leg to get up out of the tub.
My husband literally had to pick me up out of the tub, dry me, dress me, and he said, we're going to emergency right now.
Right now.
We went there. We told the whole story to the ER doctor. The whole story, like you guys just heard. And he says, well, we're going to admit you, and then the insurance will have to approve your MRI.
Right.
Because there's evidently some nerve damage from this sciatica. So I was admitted. I was given some wonderful drugs because I was in so much pain. Now, I'm not pushing drugs.
No.
I'm just saying when you're in pain and your body needs that. And I was grateful for it.
Yes.
And so I had the MRI. What happened?
Yeah, you had the MRI that same day.
The same day that I was admitted into the hospital, which was August the 2nd.
August 2nd.
Yeah.
Then August 3rd, that morning, is when the doctor came in.
You want to tell it or you want me to tell it?
I don't know if I can.
Okay. So you guys, the next morning was August the 3rd. And my husband had come back to the hospital because they wouldn't let him spend the night because of COVID.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on the side of the bed, and he was sitting on the sofa, a little sofa in the room, the private room. And it was at the ER doctor.
It was the ER doctor.
By himself?
Yeah, he came in by himself.
The ER doctor came in, because I remember some of the doctors, I think that was later on that day.
Yeah, there were several doctors that came in after
And
that.
so the ER doctor came in, just the nicest, sensitive doctor.
Very nice. Very nice.
As there could be. I would so much appreciate his bedside manner. And he said to me, he said to us, he says, your breast cancer has returned. Your breast cancer has returned. I repeat it because that's how it went in my head.
Yeah.
Kind of like Charlie Brown when the parents are talking and you don't know what they're saying. It's blah, 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 blah. And he says, your breast cancer has returned and it has metastasized through your body.
And it was your bones.
On my bones.
Your bones.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was saying that this particular type of breast cancer attacked the bones if it came back and metastasized. It attacked the bones, so they found it in your sacrum.
In my sacrum.
Up and down her spine.
My cervical.
Yeah, your ribs.
My rib cage.
And your scapula.
Under my right scapula and shoulder. And then there are grooves. Remember when I told you that I was itchy in my scalp here and here? The cancer lesions, as they call them, had tried to penetrate my scalp in those areas. And praise God,
it didn't get to your brain.
He said not so. So I have little grooves there. I guess little artwork on my on your skull. On my skull, where the lesions tried to penetrate into my skull to my brain. The pain that I felt, that sciatica, you guys, that I was talking about, that I said be aware of your body, be aware of the changes in your body, be aware of that pain. I knew it wasn't right going from 8 to 6 to 4 to 2 hours popping ibuprofen, Tylenol, wearing a lidocaine patch was the mass, the tumor that had formed. About the size of a walnut.
And it was pressing against your sciatic nerve.
Pressing against my sciatic nerve. And I'm telling you, I'm sitting on it right now. Am I in discomfort? I'm in discomfort. Am I in pain? Not the pain, I've already taken some meds, but not the excruciating pain. But I'm always in discomfort. It is at the end of my spine, and then it moved. It's where the meat of your where your trunk or panty lines will meet with your hip and your thighs is right there. And it's about this size. And so I'm always sitting on it, and it is very discomforting. Why do I say I'm always sitting on it? Because I am. That's a mass. And I have asked, will this mass ever go away? We had radiation, 10 rounds of radiation. Didn't it just destroy it? Zzz, you know, like the Matrix or something. Didn't it just zap it and it goes away?
But even before that, you know, I mean, what this whole situation did was change our whole way of thinking. Once we found out, I mean, we had no idea that the pain that you had was cancer.
And I had no idea.
We had no reason to have any idea, because they said
a good point.
Everything that they did was to prevent this from happening.
Yeah, it was a successful surgery, successful treatment.
Everything.
So I had no reason to even think
Right.
that pain was cancer.
Right. So we were, as far as we were concerned, Phyllis was cancer free.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were elated that we just kind of went through this.
Yeah.
And because at first, when we first found out that Phyllis had cancer, the last thing I wanted her to have was chemo, because I knew from my first wife what chemo can do to the body. And when they said, well, we're gonna have to give you 4 rounds of chemo, I said, oh no. But they said, this will prevent.
Yes.
This will help prevent any of the cancer coming back based on your own genetic makeup.
Right. And we're not faulting the medical staff at all, because they were wonderful.
Oh yeah, they did everything right. That was the thing. They did everything right. When we found out that the cancer had returned, we were just absolutely dumbfounded.
Yeah.
I mean, we just, how did this happen? What did it happen? And
it just took our breath away.
Oh yeah, because it was the last thing we expected. So, my wife didn't want me to say this, but I lost it. I lost it when the doctor said, because you were explaining to him about the pain and where it was, and he kind of stopped you and said, well, what we found is that your cancer had returned. And we weren't expecting that at all.
Not at all.
So we had to regroup completely, because there'd been a whole different kind of life after that.
Yeah.
A whole different kind of life. And they started out, they said, okay, well, you're going to have to receive radiation treatments. And that's how we're going to treat it. We're going to treat it with radiation. And you had the radiation treatments, and what was it, 12 rounds?
10.
Was it 10 rounds? 10 rounds of radiation. And of course, when you're going through this, all you want is good news.
Yeah.
So the slightest little thing that they say that sounds encouraging, you
jump on it.
Oh yeah. I mean, you embrace that thing.
Yeah.
You embrace that thing, and so we were constantly asking the radiologist that, okay, so this radiation, what is this doing to the tumor? Is this going to reduce that mass? And she said, yeah, it's going to prevent the cancer cells from multiplying.
Yes.
Which means the mass should eventually die.
Right.
I'd say, okay, so this means that she would probably go into remission. She said, yes, it'll probably go into remission. I said, good. Hung on that.
You're reliving it because you experienced it in the fullness with your first wife, Trixie.
Yeah.
And so now to be going through this a second time with your second wife, me, it's more traumatic on you than it is for me. But yet, my concern is for you, my 5 heartbeats, my 4 sons and you.
Yeah.
And it is it made us think different. I mean, I don't even know if I was thinking, after the doctor told us what it was and where it was. And me, I want to see. I want to see if something is growing inside of me that has invaded my body that has no right by the word of God.
Exactly.
But it's here. I want to see it, And so when they brought the picture and we could see the tumor and see how large it was and where it was, and then see all those cancer cells going up my spine and all in my cervix, cervix area, just throughout, my rib cage, my shoulders, my neck.
And they had taken all kinds of scans. They did the bone scan, they did CAT scans, they did an MRI on your head, and they took quite a few scans. And looking through all of those, boy, we could see that.
We could see it.
Yeah, we could see all of it, and that's a difficult thing to process. Trying to process all of that all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Especially coming from a point where
cancer-free.
As far as we're concerned, you're cancer-free.
Yeah, and then to hear that, it's mind-blowing. How do you wrap your mind around something like that?
Exactly.
I mean, it was just like the air was just knocked out of us.
Oh my goodness.
All we could do was sit and hold each other and try and process it. I mean, I'm a licensed therapist.
Yeah.
I work with my clients who I definitely love and appreciate, and processing what you're thinking and what you're feeling, and then your emotions and your behavior. And I had to sit in it and really try to process what I heard, and what is going on. And this is what I've been feeling from June, but then to be told it was stage 4, and this is very aggressive. Very aggressive. It's everywhere. I look like popcorn. It's just sprinkled all through me. But God.
Right, yeah.
So that's where my faith is. And that's where our faith is in our prayers.
Most definitely.
And so we share this. So we hope that this will help decrease the fear of the word cancer, keep you aware of your body, participate in research, be proactive, get checked. We also had a neurologist to come in and to speak because of the grooves where the lesions tried to penetrate my skull. And we didn't need surgery and in that area, but this is inoperable. It can't be surgically removed at all. The tumor can't for where it is. And then again, all the cancer cells or lesions, as they call it, are all attached to my bones, which made my bones very soft. So now I can't go ice skating like I do every year on my birthday. I haven't been able to do it for the last 3 years.
Yeah, you're having to get infusions to strengthen your bones so that they don't give way and break. The treatment, let's just say the treatments that I've had so far. I've had 10 rounds of you've had
radiation.
10 rounds of radiation. They put you on false Faslodex, and
those were the shots. I called them the double barrels. I got 2 shots in my hips, in my butt.
And that was once a month.
Once a month. I got them at the same time. I called them double barrels. Boom, shoom. And it was very painful. It knocked me to my knees. I felt like James Brown. Hit me.
And then they also put you on Versenio.
And it was supposed to be the most potent for this type of cancer and for this type of treatment.
And it's supposed to work hand in hand with the Faslodex.
Yeah, and it's hormonal. This is a hormonal, what they call hormonal chemo treatment, because this type of cancer likes to eat estrogen. And so these 2 treatments that I had are blockage for estrogen. So it would be like it would go and cover the cancer cell
and starve it.
Yeah, and then it would just die, and it wouldn't be able to get any of the estrogen. But however, this cancer is so aggressive. I told my husband and I told the doctors, I can feel this tumor fighting the treatment. I can feel it moving. It's almost like it's alive. It's like it's, oh, you're not going to get me right there. I'm going to move over here. Oh, I'm going to move over there. And then it moves in another place. And it attacks my nerves and it makes me hurt. And I told Ron, what month are we in?
December.
No, so what comes to November, October? Mm-hmm. I said, I'm hurting. I'm hurting more in my pelvic area, and I'm hurting more here.
In your shoulder.
In my shoulder. I said, I'm hurting more. I'm hurting here in my rib cage. I'm hurting. And when we went, and I told the doctor, and they said, well, we're just going to up the dosage and we're going to decrease the dosage. My blood count,
my white blood count,
have dropped very low. My immune system dropped very low. So I'm at high risk, very high risk. So they had to keep adjusting the medication, taking me off the highest, putting me on the lowest for so many weeks to get my blood level straight.
But they knew that the higher the dosage, the more effective it was going to be.
Right.
So whenever they lowered it, it wasn't nearly as effective as it was supposed to be.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So it was just a back and forth. Situation where if you do this, then this is going to be affected. If you do that, then that's going to be affected. So it was just really, really kind of difficult.
Right.
And then we found out that really, this was the other thing that was happening is the pain medication that she was on, and we tried to stay away from opioids.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But the pain was so severe, they put her on hydrocodone, and that is kind of down at the lower end of your opioids. And but the problem with opioids is it affects your digestive system.
Oh yeah.
And
shuts it down.
Yeah, pretty much shuts it down. Pretty much. So they say you got to stay on laxatives in order to keep things moving. Well,
or stool softeners.
Yeah, or stool softeners
or something like that. I've been in ER twice.
Yeah.
Because we thought blockage of my intestines.
Right.
No blockage. It's just been the medicine.
Right.
That's just shut it down. It makes it go to sleep, and it doesn't function the way it's supposed to.
Right.
So we have prayed and laid hands over my intestines and told her to wake up and function the way it's supposed to function.
And then of course, the last bout of constipation that you had. Nothing was happening. Nothing was happening. So we figured that it wasn't blockage because you had a CT scan before, and they said there was no blockage. So we just needed to get to the hospital to see if they could do something to get your bowels to move.
Right.
So we went to the hospital. They said, well, in order for us, before we do anything, we need to do a CT scan. And we had said, well, she had a CT scan and they didn't discover any blockage at all. He said, yes, but we have to do a CT scan before we do anything else, because if there happens, we need to make sure.
Yeah.
So they did a CT scan.
And when he came back, I was already going through the treatment of having my system cleared. Mm-hmm. My husband had stepped out because they wouldn't allow him to stay in the room. And the ER doctor came in and informed me that on the CT scan, he saw more lesions that had penetrated my liver. Now, before we were told initially, August the 3rd, when they said this was metastatic breast cancer, they said, we see some spots on your liver, but nothing to be concerned about.
They thought they were cysts.
Little cysts. Mm-hmm. You guys ask questions. Now, yes, we were in a state of shock that second day being informed that this is metastatic, and so we just our minds weren't thinking of to ask questions. We heard this is cyst, nothing to worry about.
Yeah, and that was encouraging for us.
Yeah.
Because we needed some kind of encouragement, and that was encouraging to hear. Okay, praise the Lord, they're just cysts, and it's not lesions on her liver.
But then this ER doctor comes many months later, or a couple of months later, and says there are more. And he said, cancer cells on your liver.
Yeah, lesions on the liver.
And I was floored. I'm in the ER room having treatment, and I'm alone. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
How am I tell this to my husband? And how did this happen? And what is going on? And then I got mad at myself. Why didn't I ask the doctor back in August the 3rd about when he said about the cyst? And why isn't there treatment for it? So I went immediately into research on the web. And guys, there's a lot of information out there. Be careful what sites you're going to. I try to go to a lot of medical sites, Johns Hopkins, WebMD, American Cancer Society. Those are places where you're going to get the most recent information and research information versus someone just saying, what they think,
or coming up with some cockamamie way of treating this and that.
Yeah.
I think one other important thing that you did too, which I think is very important, is that all of the information that you found on the internet, you cleared with your doctors whenever you met with the doctors. Yes, yeah, and that's very important.
Yeah, I printed them all off from the different medical sites, our Cancer Society sites, and everything that I researched. I put in breast metastatic cancer, breast metastatic liver cancer, and that's what I was concerned about. When I had started hurting in my pelvic area and on my side, then that was the reason, the pain, that this aggressive cancer they saw had spread more in my pelvic area and then in the liver. So I have a protruding liver here, and it's painful. It almost feels like it's under my rib cage. Your liver is right there, so it's rubbing, and it feels rugged and scratchy, and like somebody is tearing it. And when I try to move or stretch, you'd be surprised the muscles and things you use on your body.
Yeah,
when you take for granted. But just to try to stand up or to raise my arm or different things, it's just excruciating. You've seen that in other families. And I'm not saying this to glorify it. I'm letting you guys know that this is real. Please don't be afraid of it. Get the treatment. Ask the questions. I've changed 3 oncologists. Because
you changed 2. We're on our 3rd.
Yes, thank you.
We're on our 3rd oncologist, and we're very happy with this.
Yes, and I changed because, not that they're not good at what they do, I wasn't feeling comfortable. As a clinician, you want your clients, your patients to feel comfortable with you. You want them to trust you. You want them to be stress-free and know that they can open up and talk and ask questions. You want to be patient with them and sensitive and empathetic with them. And I can't say that that was always received. And so when disparity was present during this journey, I thought, I appreciate what you're doing, but I'm not comfortable. I'm more stressed.
And it's not as though we wanted someone that gave us all good news, sugar-coated everything. We wanted the real facts.
Yeah.
But there's a way to give that kind of information.
And you are so correct. We don't want anything that was sugar-coated. Right. But I want to encourage you listening audience to ask questions, know your rights, get a second and a third opinion if you need to.
Yes.
Both doctors are very good in what they did, the two that I had before, but I just wasn't getting enough information or feeling as comfortable as I needed to feel with them. And so now we have a doctor that we are both very comfortable with, very pleased with, who's very forthcoming, and I'm relaxed. I don't have the stress. And stress you don't need when you're sick.
No, you
and
sure
you don't need
don't.
to have a negative thought. There's a book out that says you can't afford a negative thought. Also, Robin Robbins has a book out, Everybody's Got Something. That book is so great on talking about her journey with breast cancer and the disparity that she experienced. I encourage anyone that's going through any type of illness to read that, because you've got rights, and so you want to be respected.
Yes, yes.
Also, in your research, you want to talk with your doctor for nutritionists. There are nutritionists, oncologists, and there are certain foods that you possibly should and should not eat. I can't have grapefruit of any kind during this treatment.
Yeah, we never knew that.
Yeah, and so that's important. Also, I'm wearing a hat because even though we had this first treatment that my husband spoke of, that treatment was not working.
No, right. The Faslodex and the Versenio, they discovered because the cancer had spread to her liver that it wasn't being effective at all. So they changed that, took you off of the Faslodex and the Versenio, and now you're taking
chemo pills.
Yeah, chemo pills.
Capecitabine.
Capacitabine. I believe that's what it is.
That one.
Yeah, that one. And you're taking 3 pills twice a day.
Yeah, so that's what, 1,500 milligrams?
Yeah, 1,500 milligrams each time.
And so in chemo treatment, this, as wonderful as it is, and we need our vitamin D, you can't have direct sunlight on you. So I have to stay covered as much as possible. And as the sun came up, as much as I was loving it, enjoying it, I have to be covered. So that's why I have on this beautiful hat.
Yeah, sun was coming out.
Yeah, to be covered. Also, you all, I just want to say that know that this is serious. It's very serious, like any illness, but it doesn't mean death.
Right.
It does not mean death. There may have been some statements made, some things said that make a person feel uncomfortable or scared. But this cancer is not always a death sentence.
Right.
I put my trust in God. We both do.
Yes, we do.
Everyone probably has their own type of belief and support, and we respect that. My belief is the God of heaven and of earth. And I take his word literally. It doesn't mean that I'm any better than anyone else, because we know there have been a lot of Christians, a lot of good people who have succumbed to the various types of cancers. And my heart goes to their families. I pray for them. And I thank God for the time that he is providing and giving me. I want to use this journey for his glory and to help someone else. If I can help somebody, and if they share it with somebody, go to our Garnett Cancer Society nonprofit YouTube channel.
Yes.
Look at all the different spotlights that we've had with oncologists, my pathologist, my surgeon, on personal testimonies of individuals and caregivers. It's a wealth of free information out there that you would have probably had to pay hundreds of dollars for to attend a seminar. Make sure you have a good support system. Make sure that you are open to receiving help. this cancer that has attacked my body causes me not to be able to do a lot of things. I have to sit down at times to wash the dishes. Yes, we have a dishwasher.
Yeah,
but I like to wash the dishes.
Yeah, that's therapeutic.
Yeah. I can't mop the floor and sweep the floor like I used to. I can't vacuum at all anymore. I do what I can do when I'm feeling good, but usually when I get up in the morning and I go to the restroom and I get all refreshed for the day, I'm ready to lay back down.
Yeah.
Please be aware of your body. Be proactive. Your pathology does matter. Yeah. I want to say to my husband, I so love you.
I love you.
I so appreciate you. You do so many things for me. You never complain.
It's not about me.
I'll get up to go cook, and he already have breakfast ready. And I'm like, I'm gonna be a wife today. I can cook. You know, we have our jokes and stuff. And I care about him. Caretakers need to be cared for as well. So I make sure that my family and friends are around to help me and to give him a break and to take care of him. So I just want to thank you all. I pray that this has been a blessing and a help for you all. Know that if you're not comfortable with any primary care physician, you have rights. You have rights. You have the right to change. You have the right to get a second opinion. You have the right to ask questions. You have the right to have your questions answered. You have rights. You have rights. We are all human, and we all need to respect each other as such. I want to thank, I'm just going to say it. I want to thank my son for recording us today.
Yes.
I want to thank him publicly. Vincent, thank you so much, because this is what I desire to do, and this is where I desire to do it. We wanted to have a different spotlight background that's relaxing, that's beautiful, that's at peace, and that's calming, so that as you all listen to this, family, friends, the community, we want you to enjoy the background scenery as well and be calm, because cancer does not always mean a death sentence.
Right, very true. Very true.
You can't afford a negative thought.
No.
And your pathology matters.
Yes, it does.
Anything you need to say, honey?
No, just one thing, and that was that, you know, dealing with insurance companies can be rather tedious and complex and difficult and frustrating.
Very.
So it's important that you know, there are all kinds of procedures that your doctor may want to have done. Make sure that they clear that through your insurance company so that it will be covered.
That's right.
Yeah.
Follow up. Call your insurance company yourself and make sure that it's covered, because everything they do nowadays, especially in treating cancer, is very, very expensive. The scans are very expensive, so you don't want to be saddled with that kind of expense when all they have to do is just check with the insurance company and find out if that's covered. Yeah. We thank you so much for listening. We hope this has been a blessing and encouraging to you. We pray that you will share it. You can go to our various media sites, the Garnett Cancer Society nonprofit YouTube channel. You can also go to the Garnett Cancer Society webstarts.com website. And you can also go to the Garnett Cancer Society Facebook. We have a wealth of information out there, events that are coming up. We want you to participate. Please donate to the society. None of the money comes to us. It goes to our account. We send it out to help others in research. We have gifting from the heart. You can read about that on our Facebook. We also have Coins of Love, Valentine Memoir that we do every February, and a host of other programs and events. We also have events coming up for 2020. We're getting ready to have a virtual Black History fashion show. You do not want to miss that in February, but you do want to participate and purchase. So please go out to our sites. And as we always say, want to say it together, your Your pathology
matters.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Want to go for a walk?
Let's do that.
Let's do that.